Hello, I'm John Grandy, and as chairman of the Royal Humane Society, I'm delighted to read this story of bravery from 1987 as one of many in celebration of the Society's 250th anniversary. To put 1987 into context, it was the year of the stock market crash known as Black Monday, and also the year in which the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty was signed in Washington by US President Ronald Reagan and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. The world population reached 5 billion. So here is the story. An Edinburgh to London motor coach carrying about 40 passengers ploughed into a line of traffic held up by lane closures on the M6, southbound carriageway near Preston, Lancashire. In all, 13 vehicles were involved, and many of them burst into flames. Fire also broke out in the front of the coach, where 3 passengers died instantly. Slowly, the smoke started to spread down the coach, and the remaining passengers made for the emergency exit rear door, from where there was a 4-foot drop to the road below. The emergency door was opened, and the solid mass of people in the aisle began pushing those in front. Many fell awkwardly and hurt themselves as others fell onto them. By the time the last few passengers had reached the rear of the coach, much of it was ablaze, and it was full of smoke from end to end. This was the situation which greeted James Smith when he stopped his northbound journey and ran across the motorway lanes to the scene. It looked like a battlefield, and it was difficult to know where to start, but he heard there might still be some passengers in the coach, and he went to it to see if he could help. He observed that the engine was still running, and that the coach was on fire from the front. He found an emergency cutout button at the back of the coach and pressed it to stop the engine. He opened the rear side exit door and saw a clear airspace of about 2 feet at floor level, but inside the door was an unconscious man. Smith reached inside and dragged the man out. He then carried him to the central reservation, where there was a group of people. Leaving the man there, Smith then returned to the coach. He reopened the door and looked inside. Collapsed on the floor of the aisle, he saw another male figure, and, crawling into the coach, he dragged this man to safety. Smith then crawled inside the coach again and made his way forward past the second or third seat from the door. The smoke was so thick that he could not see a thing in front of him, but his hands felt another body on the floor of the aisle, and he dragged this person out of the coach, making sure that others were on hand to apply resuscitation and or first aid. The entire length of the coach was engulfed in flames now, and it was impossible for anybody to go near it. So Smith went to other vehicles which had been involved in the accident to see if there was anything more he could do. Smith was taken later to hospital, where he was treated for shock and smoke inhalation and detained overnight. 13 people died in this accident, 3 from the coach and 10 from cars struck by the coach, but those rescued by Smith all recovered after resuscitation and hospital treatment. For his bravery, James Smith was awarded the Royal Humane Society's Stand-Up Gold Medal. I hope you're as moved as I am by this story of extreme bravery and self-sacrifice, so typical of those which come before us. Smith was suddenly confronted with a perilous situation and knowingly went into danger. The Society is a registered charity and heavily dependent on donations. You can join either as a friend for £25 per annum or for £100 per annum become a governor, which means you receive the annual report and can come to the annual general meeting and meet trustees and brave awardees. Or if you prefer, please just make a donation via the website. If you like gardening and roses, you can now order Spark of Life from our website. This beautiful scented rose, whose name is derived from our motto, was developed specifically for us and most generously donated by Harkness Roses. It was launched at this year's Chelsea Flower Show and is easy to grow. The Society will receive a royalty for each rose sold, all of which will help the Royal Humane Society in its year to continue to recognise bravery and the saving of life. Thank you.